Welcome back to Evening Plus. Thanks so much for sticking with us. There's a new trend circulating online. It's called colostrum harvesting. But what does that mean? And is it a good thing? Are there risks associated? This is a topic, of course, more targeted at new moms, new parents. So joining us to chat about it is international board certified lactation consultant Bree McCoy. Bree, thank you so much for being with us here on Evening Plus to talk about this. Let's just talk about colostrum in general first, for anyone who may not be familiar. What is it and what is it used for?
Hi, thank you for having me. Colostrum is the first milk that your body begins to make for your baby. It starts getting created in your second trimester of pregnancy and lasts for the first few days after baby is born as your milk transitions into the milk that we typically see that's, that thin white milk that we see in the bottles that we get pictures of.
And colostrum's often referred to more casually as liquid gold because of the benefits associated with it and the fact that, it's this shorter lifespan that you're able to produce that. Tell me a little bit about the benefits and, why it's such a coveted thing that the body produces.
Yes, colostrum actually is one of the most beneficial things for your baby as far as their immune system. This is their first line of defense as far as what they can get that will feed their body the right microbiome to support their immune system. And this is only available in the colostrum, and then it slightly changes as new milk or the mature milk begins to come in.
And so when we hear the phrase colostrum harvesting, this is something maybe some people have heard of, maybe they've never heard of it. That phrase specifically obviously refers to, the actual production and, taking the colostrum and either bagging it or putting it in a bottle, some kind of container. Walk me through, what the purpose of that is, and then we'll get into kind of some of the risks associated with it.
So this trend has come out and parents are hearing that they can start expressing and saving milk during their pregnancy to prepare for feeding baby after they are born. The thing is they are doing this under the impression that it is risk-free and or that they're going to be making a beneficial impact on their milk production after baby is born. It is something that has been recommended to some patients by their providers for certain circumstances, but this isn't something that should be blanket statement, hey, everyone should do it, because the risks that are associated with it is preterm labor. When you are stimulating your breast, it also causes oxytocin to be produced within your body, which affects your muscles, which your uterus is a muscle, and can cause contractions. So if it's too early or your body's not ready to go into labor yet, it can cause that to start going on, and then either looking at having a early baby, preterm baby, and that's not ideal.
And of course, the topic of breastfeeding is one that can be very high stress for some women. There's a lot of pressure involved on who's able to do what, whose body is able to, produce how much milk, how much colostrum. I know some of the videos that circulate online, you see women who have, a bunch of breast milk bags with just colostrum in it. How realistic is that? Obviously everyone's journey is different, but how much colostrum is the average woman really producing? What is more typical, just to kind of quash some of those myths about, what this looks like?
Great question. I love to talk about this with my patients because everyone is shocked to see how much colostrum they're actually going to be getting. Even so, if they're hand expressing or in, colostrum harvesting, or even in the first few days postpartum, when I'm helping a parent hand express, the amount that they typically get is just about that much, maybe 1 to 2 mLs for the first couple feeds, and then it slowly increases over the next couple days. It's not a lot. So seeing those pictures of the bags and bags or bottles of colostrum, it's not realistic. Not everyone's going to do that, and it's not necessary.
As you said, there can be some pretty significant health risks. Sending yourself into preterm labor could certainly be a very dangerous situation. Before we let you go here tonight, what's your just final piece of advice to moms who are hearing about this? What really is your recommendation? You're the expert on this, on what that process should look like before, your mature milk comes in.
You should always speak with your provider, your pregnancy provider, to talk about the risk and the benefits. There are benefits to having colostrum on hand if you are expecting to be away from baby in the early postpartum period or an NICU stay, blood pressure, or I'm sorry, blood sugar issues like gestational diabetes that can cause baby to have a hard time with regulating their own blood sugar. But in the end, it is going to be on an individual basis. Talk to your provider, decide if that is something that is worth it for you, and make an informed decision.
Absolutely. All right, Bree, thank you so much for your expertise on this. International certified lactation consultant. We so appreciate your knowledge and the debunking of what this really looks like for moms across our area. Thank you so much.